Do you love TV shows? We do too. Hello everyone, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Anna, and we're the hosts of We Judge a Show by Its Pilot, a podcast hosted by us, a married couple with an endless love for TV.
Whether you're searching for a new favorite series or ready to revisit an old classic, we're here to guide you through an infinite world of TV shows.
Each episode, we watch and discuss the pilot for shows, while also sharing personal stories that parallel the storyline.
So if you're tired of endlessly scrolling and not sure what to watch next, tune in and let us do the searching for you.
We Judge a Show by Its Pilot. New episodes every Tuesday and Friday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Your new favorite show is just one click away. Hello everyone, welcome back to our pod.
Hi.
We're back.
We're back. Now we are finally doing Ted.
Yes. So if you remember, we just recorded it, so it's been 30 seconds for us, but if you remember at the beginning of our Parenthood episode, Anna forgot that we were doing Parenthood, and she thought we were recording Ted, but we are now recording Ted.
Yay! I'm on track, finally.
So we have our month of June has come to an end. It is our final episode of the month, and I think this was the first one that we thought of for this month.
Yeah.
This was kind of like maybe when I told you that the new season was going to come out or that it was done, you were like, oh, well, we gotta do. It was kind of like the same with Four Seasons, which feels like forever ago, but it wasn't. It was still this month. But yeah, I'm really excited about this one.
I love this. Both of these. Yes. Now I'm speaking correctly.
Yes. Yes. So before we get into that, I kind of have a fun little thing.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with the episode.
Okay.
But so as I've talked about before, I'm regularly on Reddit, and there are some new subreddits that I've not discovered because they already existed, but that I personally discovered them, but that I've started joining, and that I don't really interact on these, but I love to watch. So I'm going to tell you a couple of the subreddits. Maybe
Okay.
You'll get a kick out of it. So the one that I know you'll like is Zillow Gone Wild.
Oh yeah.
So that is a combo. It's a lot of it is just like the most like elaborate, most ridiculous looking houses that you've ever seen in terms of like mansions. There was one, it's in Arizona. It's this huge mansion. It has like a helicopter pad. It has like a convention center inside of it, like a conference center inside of it. But then you also kind of have like the quirky houses, the weird houses, and the interesting ones, or the ones that are very big and elaborate. There was this one like castle, but because it was in the middle of North Carolina, it was like $500,000.
Yeah.
So like, it's just really interesting. They're like, it's kind of like the joke in the SNL sketch where it's like, I could live in a mansion if I moved to South Carolina or North Carolina or something like that. And
because they have a Facebook. I've seen the Zillow Gone Wild Facebook, and they have like the links to the actual listings. Yeah. I'm sure like the Reddit one does.
So, and then there's another one that I've been, I don't really interact on this one, but it's called Explain a Film Plot Badly. So basically you describe a movie in the worst possible way, and people try to guess what movie you're talking about.
But it has to be sort of real. Like it has to be.
You can't. Yeah. So the confusion a lot of times on this subreddit is that people just kind of like make up stuff about the movie, and it's like, okay, that's not what the movie's about. You just have to explain the plot badly. They have like rules. They're like no Marvel movies, no comic book movies, no Harry Potter movies. Like they have like very specific rules. They're not a big fan of like franchise movies on there. So you kind of have to follow the guidelines. And then we kind of watched something similar to this on Smosh, but it's called I Didn't Have Eggs. And it's people who don't follow a recipe and then complain about it.
Nice.
So yeah, we watch Culinary Crimes on Smosh.
God. Yeah.
And that's basically what that show is. Where
that's my favorite, when they're like, I was going to make this, but I didn't have this, or this.
It turned out awful.
Right. So I used this, and this.
One
and
star.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you weren't following the recipe. So yeah.
And then there's another one that I get a kick out of, and I know you would too. So the subreddit is called Tragedy, but it's spelled Tragedeigh. So it's people who give their kids regular names but spell it crazy.
Yeah.
Or it's people that give their kids, I'm not going to say weird names. They give them original names. I'll say they're original. So I can't pass up the opportunity to so the best thing about the tragedy subreddit is when teachers post on there and they're like, this is the highlight reel of the craziest names that I've ever seen as a teacher. And this one that I always kept, that I've had it saved for a while because I was like, I need to figure out a way to talk about this on the podcast because it gives me so much entertainment to scroll and be like, you know, you get like a screenshot of like, you know, just have my baby, welcome. And it'll be these like ridiculously spelled names, but it's like, you know, Ella Jean, you know, but you're like, how do you get that spelling out of it? So this is more of like kind of crazy names, but so the top of my list will forever be Jazz Topher. So Jazz, but then Topher, like Christopher.
Yeah.
Jazz-topher.
Jazz-topher.
A close second to Jazz-topher is a little girl I used to tutor in high school. Her name was Manliness.
Whoa.
I taught sisters Boiyama and Munich. There's Olympics. Sockjune, yes, it was spelled that way, so it's Sohckjune, Sockjune.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. There's Happinetta, that's how it's spelled. Pronounced as Apple, Aypel, Apple. Apel. There is literally a name called Yours Sincerely. Christmas Day Occasion.
That's the name?
Yeah, number 10. Christmas Day Occasion.
Oh my God.
Yeah, God's Gift Lynn. All one name. All one combined name. Monet, but it's pronounced like Monet, but it's like Monei, Mon, and then 8. So Monei.
Monet.
GHT. Prussia Indigo. Surprisely. And then there's Zachary and Sarah, but it's Zachary is Xacary and Sarah is Xara. This is like my favorite thing ever. It just cracks me up. Jingle Bell, but Bell is spelled like Bell, like Belle. And then London Holiday, and that's it. And then Glory to Godson. Glory to God's Son. Glory to Godson. And that's that. It's like my favorite thing to look at.
I probably have the plainest name in all of humanity. My name is Anna.
Mm-hmm.
I have always loved my name because I could always find things with my name on it, like barrettes or shoelaces or keychains or magnets. And it rhymes with a lot of stuff. So it's fun. I mean, it's the name game. Anna, Bobana, Fee, Fi, Fofana. So I love my name.
Someone named their kid Chernobyl. Chernobyl Hope.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
Yeah, so
maybe he'll be an X-ray tech and go into radiation. So there you go.
Yeah. And then, like, you know, I think parents a lot of times, like, try to give their kids, like, cool names. And in their minds, it's like a really cool name. But then you're like, that person has to like fill out applications. And that's going to be the name that people see. You know, you have to think about that. I'm not saying give your kids, like our names are we have very simple. You just said your name is very simple. My name is very simple. The only thing people ever mess up is the ERY and the REY. That's the only thing people ever mess up about my name. But yeah, so I just wanted to share that little tidbit. I've been wanting to share the newest subreddits that I've been looking at. Also, there's the subreddit called Aw, and I just sent you some pictures. It's just really cute pictures of your pets.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so we are ending our summer blockbuster month. We already told you with Ted. A movie that I'm gonna talk about once we do the episode and series information, all that. I'm gonna talk about like the movie because there's the movie, there's the sequel, and then there's the TV show.
Yeah.
And we have opinions about each of them. So we are gonna just go ahead. And I talked about the subreddits a little bit longer than I planned to, so I might cut some of that out. But let's just go ahead and do the episode and series information and movie information.
All right. Ted, Just Say Yes. Ted is an American comedy series that premiered on Peacock on January 11th, 2024, and currently has a total of 7 episodes. The series was renewed for a second season, and production wrapped on Ted earlier this year, and we're just waiting for the release date to be announced. Ted was created by Seth MacFarlane, creator of Family Guy, American Dad, The Orville, and A Million Ways to Die in the West. The series is based on the 2012 film of the same name and its 2015 sequel, Ted 2. It was recently announced that an animated series would be released sometime in 2026. Ted revolves around John Bennett, an average Bostonian who wished for his teddy bear to come alive as a child, only for it to come true. The film centers around John as an adult trying to navigate his life with Ted, who is now a typical Bostonian in teddy bear form. The series serves as a prequel showing John as a teenager and Ted being forced to go to high school with John. The film's cast includes Mark Wahlberg as John, Seth MacFarlane as the voice of Ted, Mila Kunis as Lori, John's girlfriend, Joel McHale as Rex, Lori's womanizing boss, Giovanni Ribisi as Donnie, Ted's biggest fan and stalker, Patrick Warburton and Laura Vandervoot as Guy and Tanya, John's co-workers, Matt Walsh as Thomas Murphy, John's boss, and Jessica Barth as Tammy Lynn, Ted's girlfriend and eventual wife. Ryan Reynolds appears in a cameo role as Jared, Guy's boyfriend. The second film, Amanda Seyfried, replaces Kunis as John's love interest due to Kunis being unavailable to film the sequel. The series cast includes Max Burkholder as John, and he was also in Parenthood.
Yes,
Maybe that's why I got him confused. I didn't know. Seth MacFarlane as the voice of Ted, Alana Ubach as Susan, John's soft-spoken, caring mother, Scott Grimes as Maddie, John's outspoken, often belligerent father, Georgia Wiggum as Blair, John's intelligent and politically liberal cousin who lives in the apartment above their garage while attending Emerson College. Despite receiving mixed reviews from the critics, both films were box office successes and are beloved by audiences. The series had a slow start but eventually became one of the most watched series on Peacock. Both films are available to rent on any streaming platform. It was recently taken off of Netflix.
We literally watched it the last day.
Literally the last day of May.
Right before midnight.
Yeah, and the series is currently on Peacock.
So, had you seen the movie before we watched the TV show?
Yes. I think I had seen parts of it. I don't think I had watched it straight through.
Mm-hmm.
I will admit that I probably knew Ted mostly from the GIF.
Oh yeah,
the little humpy GIF. Yeah. I mean, it's like Happy Hump Day, or like, if you're feeling a little frisky, you send his little, arm moving back and forth.
The whole scene was so funny.
Yeah. So that's what I knew, and then you were like, you've got to watch it. So we watched it, and I mean, I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just thought it was hilarious, just start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when the first movie came out, I of course loved it. I love Seth MacFarlane. He's essentially just doing like a Peter Griffin voice, a little different, a little bit more Bostonian, less Rhode Island. But yeah, I loved Mark Wahlberg is so funny. He's just one of those people that like he can kind of do anything. He's
great. I mean, he's so good.
And Mila in the first movie, I liked Mila Kunis. I liked the plot of the first one. I love Giovanni Ribisi. I love that Seth MacFarlane really likes working with him. He was in A Million Ways to Die in the West, and he was in both of the Ted movies. So clearly he kind of brings people back. Amanda Seyfried was in the sequel, but she was also in A Million Ways to Die in the West. And they just seem to have it's a lot like Kevin Smith, where he just likes working with he likes working with his friends.
Yeah.
But I will say, and we talked about this before, I will say that I much prefer the second movie over the first movie.
Yeah, me too.
I love Mila Kunis, but I felt like he had better chemistry with Amanda Seyfried, and Amanda Seyfried's character fit in better into that universe, whereas Mila Kunis was kind of like the straight man. I feel like Amanda Seyfried was like the straight man, but there was also humor in
Yes.
her stuff with her like not understanding pop culture references and the whole Gollum eyes
Yes.
thing, which
Oh my
we
God.
both, which you made me play that clip like over and over again.
Oh my God, it's like the
You
best.
have give me the ring, my precious eyes.
Yes. Oh my God.
And so yeah, so when the TV show came out, I remember it first came out, and I don't think we watched it like right away, but I think we were both just like, let's watch something funny. In our minds, like, let's watch something funny that like we don't have to like think when we're watching it. Let's just watch something kind of, carefree, a little mindless. And it was like the first episode, we were both just like, yeah, we're gonna binge this. Like we watched it in like 2 days. And it's 7 episodes. I mean, it's super easy to watch.
Yeah.
And they're like, I think the first episode's like 45 minutes and the rest of them are 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's easy.
And it was like a day and a half, 2 days of watching it. And we were just, the first episode, I just remember we were dying laughing the entire time. The whole dinner table scene at the very beginning and that whole thing. And I love it. It does border on offensive humor. It does border on politically incorrect, but it's very intentional. It is very much like, I think Ted the TV series was having the Blair character was their way of like kind of correcting a lot of their like dated humor from the first 2 movies. And Blair is like, because you're sitting here, it's 1993, and Blair's using like these terminologies. You're like, y'all weren't saying that in 1993.
Right,
like,
yeah.
you were saying that today. So I think that was very intentional, where it's like, she's there to kind of correct the mistakes. But I loved that character. I loved so in the movie, Alex Borstein and Ralph Garman play the parents, but they're only in one scene at the very beginning of the movie. I loved the recasting. As much as I love both of those actors, Alana Ubach can do no wrong. She can play any character.
She is having like a renaissance.
Oh, yeah.
She's in The Last of Us.
Euphoria, and now Ted.
Yeah.
She's just kind of all over the
Yeah,
place.
she's just, I mean,
she's always been around, and it's really funny when
but such different characters.
there's a lot of there's kind of this meme going around where it's like, I was today years old when I realized all of these characters were played by the same woman. And it was like her character in Meet the Fockers, who was like this Hispanic, who was like their Hispanic maid. And then it was like her character in Legally Blonde,
Yeah.
her character in Waiting, and then her character in The Last of Us. And it's like, I was today years old, and I'm just like, and she's been around since the night. I mean, I remember, and she was in Airborne, which was like her, Seth Green, Jack Black's first movie. Like that was the first thing I remember seeing her in. But she just was someone that has just been working nonstop always. Like, she's just one of the best character actors. And it's almost like you forget that it's her. Like, that's how good she is. Like, you forget that that's Alana Ubach, especially like in Ted and in Euphoria and in The Last of Us. You're like, this is all the same woman. Like, this is all, like, that's how good of an actress she is.
And she was in the movie that I was talking to you about like a couple days ago, Clock Watchers.
Yes.
And she was the one who was getting married.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've known her since like the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, that was way before all of those other things
Same.
that you...
That's why I was
yeah,
saying with Airborne.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
early 90s. Yeah, so it was really easy to get into the show. It's really easy to get into the movies. But yeah, I liked the direction that they went with the TV show. I thought they did a great job casting Max Burkholder as young John Bennett. You kind of look at him and you're like, he doesn't look like Mark Wahlberg, but as soon as he kind of like starts talking, you're like, he sounds exactly like him.
Yes.
It's really crazy. And so then you're like, okay, I buy it now. Like, and it was already kind of written that John was this very, in the movie, when they kind of talk about it in the very beginning of the first movie, where he was kind of a loner, he didn't have a lot of friends, he was very awkward. Like, Max Burkholder plays that very well. There are a lot of really funny scenes in the TV show that we'll get into in a little bit, but yeah, so I love the pilot, I love the series. I can't wait for the new season, and I can't wait for the animated series that's coming out. That's going to have all of the cast come back. Really excited about that too. All right, so Ted is a toy. John got him for Christmas. He was like the big gift that he got that year. Was there ever a toy that you wanted as a kid that you never got?
I'm really trying to think. I mean, stuffed animal wise,
Yeah.
I probably had all the ones I ever wanted because like I love like stuffed animals. I think were usually something that was relatively inexpensive.
Yeah.
Probably, I think I will say a toy that I didn't get that I always sort of wanted, but again, it was probably because it was just so popular, was like the 3-story Barbie dream house that had like the elevator up the middle of it.
Nice.
I mean, I don't remember how much those cost in the 70s, but my parents just probably couldn't afford something I mean, back then it was probably like $35, but in today's money, that's probably like $200. Like they were not going to get me something like that.
Right.
So instead, like I probably just made my own Barbie dream house. So, I'm really trying to think. Like I, had Barbies. My mom made me clothes. I had stuffed animals. I mean, not really. I mean, I don't think I was really a kid that really dreamed out of what I knew I could probably get, because I was always fully aware of what like my parents could afford. And I mean, if I had said something like, Mom, I want like the entire so-and-so, I mean, I knew I wasn't going to be getting that. So there was no point in me asking for it. But I mean, my parents were always pretty good at like finding one or two like toys that would make me happy. I mean, I was always just very happy with a stuffed animal or some new Barbie clothes, stuff like that. And they always got me like, maybe not the Barbie dream house, but I had the Barbie RV camper.
Oh yeah.
That was a classic. I had the Barbie bathtub that made bubbles. Nice. And then I had like the Barbie blow up swimming pool, which was totally cute. So again, they got me like the smaller things, but those big toys. No, I mean, And I never really ever asked for them.
Yeah.
But what about you? Was there something you ever really wanted that you just never got or never asked for? Or?
Well, as a child of the 90s, there were a lot more. That was a big time of like advertising towards kids. That was a really big
Toys
time.
R Us catalog.
Yeah. So everything. I mean, like I just feel like there was always every 5 seconds there was a commercial for this game or this toy or this thing or this whatever. And I would always ask for something, and my parents were pretty good about like, well, if we're going to get you, I mean, they weren't buying me like $200 toys or anything. It was always like, but I was very much like wanting the trendy toy of the year or something like that. I remember after Home Alone 2 came out, when Talk Boys became a thing, and I really wanted one, and my parents gave me one, and then I kind of just realized after like a day of using it, I'm like, this is a Walkman. I was just like, this is a Walkman that I can like record my voice onto. And then like there was like one feature where it would like slow down your voice, which in real life compared to the movie, it was not the same. And so it was like, it would just kind of deepen your voice a little bit. And you're like, that just sounds like me trying to make my voice sound deeper. So I kind of slowly realized that like, once I kind of grew out of that, I was very much realized that like, I don't really want these toys. I just am being told that I want these toys. I don't think I came to that much of like a profound realization at 8, but I definitely like something in the back of my head was like, I just want to ask for like movies. I just want to ask for movies. Like, I think that's just what it became.
Well, I was going to ask you in the reverse, and it kind of is a great transition from that comment, was there a toy that was all the rage that you were like, why in the hell does everybody want this?
Yeah, and there were a lot. I remember when the Skip It first came out, and that was the thing you attached to your ankle, and it was like a hula hoop for your feet. And I remember one of my cousins got it for Christmas, and I'd seen commercials for it, and I just remember watching it and just being like, I would be bored with that in like 5 seconds. I was just like, I just remember thinking like, I don't get it. And then there was Bop It, which a lot of people had, but I preferred Simple Simon. I preferred that because it's a memory game. That's all it is.
Simon,
like,
yeah.
Was it just called Simon?
It's Simon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just like a memory game, and I preferred Simon because I just liked the noises that it made. So like,
Beep, beep, beep,
and then the Bop It was just too intense. It was like Bop It, Twist It, and it would just like keep getting faster, and there would be like music playing and stuff. And I remember kids having that, and just me just kind of being like, Simon is better. And then there was I remember, so there was a gaming, it was like a handheld gaming system for Sega. I think it was called the Game Gear, but it was supposed to be this like new, like you're basically playing a video game that you would play on TV, on your TV, but you were playing it like handheld. Like it was supposed to be like in full color, in 3D. I never had one. I never asked for one. I would have never asked for one just because they were so expensive. But everyone I knew that had one, every time I would go over there and be like, oh, you have a Game Gear? They'd be like, yeah, it's broken. That was like literally every single time. I've never seen a Game Gear turned on before. Like
Wow.
I had never seen one turned on and played with. Maybe they were just saying that because they didn't want me to mess with it. But like the fact that it was like every kid I knew that had a Game Gear, and I'd be like, oh, you have a Game Gear? They'd be like, yeah, it's broken. I'd be like,
Wow.
okay. You know, I'd just be like, all right, I guess we're not playing with that. But yeah, so there were definitely a lot of toys, a lot of fads that were very much that they were just, you know, a passing moment. I remember when I got a remote control car for Christmas, and I wanted one so bad, and I remember playing with it and just being like, okay, I played with this for a day and a half, and I'm kind of like, it doesn't do anything other than drive around. So I mean, like, I guess I was just more of like, I wanted, like, give me, like, a pair of rollerblades, and I will use those until I need new wheels. Like, give me a VHS, and I will use that thing until the tape starts to wear. Like, I was much more of, like, an interactive kid that, like, I wanted, like, toys just didn't do it for me. Like, you know, action figures just didn't do it for me. Like, I wanted something that, like, was useful, I think, maybe, or something that was more like practical. I went through like my hockey phase, and I would get those hockey sticks and pucks and stuff, and I would use those until the stick wore out. Like I was much more into that. But there were, I mean, like I said, I grew up in the 90s. I mean, you grew up in the 70s where there was a lot of like toy fads. I mean, like,
oh, Cabbage Patch
Right.
Kids. I mean, I thought those were the ugliest things ever. First off, I wasn't a baby doll girl.
Okay,
I was more Barbie than baby doll. But even when these came out, and again, they were pretty expensive. So it wasn't because of that I knew my parents could not get me or would not get me one. But I just thought they were ugly. I was like, oh my gosh, these are terrible. But I kind of go over time to think of like when Patrick was young and the Tamagotchis, like those were popular. And then now I've been sending you the links and talking about the Labubu's that like are all over TikTok, and everyone has been talking about them. And I read this article. They were like, these things have been around for a while.
Yeah.
And like people just posted it on TikTok, and now Pop Marts are going insane and people are waiting in lines. And they were like, these are like ugly keychains.
Yeah.
What are people doing? But I've seen like, you know, Cameron Westcott from The Real Housewives of Dallas was like in Las Vegas, and she was walking down the strip with her son. They were going to the Pop Mart. They were waiting. Literally, there must have been 100 people in line to get into the store. And when they got into the store, they found out that they didn't even have any in the store. They were making people wait in line.
Yeah.
And then they would tell them. And I'm like, no one came out and told you that? And she was, you know, she was like, I think we need to go out and tell people, but they didn't. You know? So I'm like, I was like, I would have walked out and have been like, they don't have any in here.
Yeah.
Stop wasting your time. It's like, yeah. But anywho.
You may have already named it, but like, do you remember like having like a favorite toy as a kid? Like one that you really remember like favoring over all the others?
Yes, I will say it was the little tree house where it was like a tree and it had like a button at the top and popped open, and it was like a little house underneath.
Oh, okay.
And it had like little like plastic family members, and it had, it was really cute. Like on the side of the tree, there was like a little shrub, and the shrub kind of opened kind of like a mouth,
Uh-huh.
and it was the doghouse, and so there was also like a little dog.
Didn't they have that on comic book? Didn't someone bring that in on Comic Book Men?
Yeah, I think so, because
Okay.
I probably swooned over
Yeah.
it. I had it until my mother passed away. It was in the attic, and I
wow.
mean, I didn't have like all the parts to it anymore, all the little characters, and I had like, because I played with it, I would drag it around. It actually, like at the top of the tree, had a handle, but I played with that all the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would make up like family like things that it was so cute. Like in the tree trunk, it had like a little elevator that you would crank up, and they would go up into the tree house. So yeah, I was very much like you. I was definitely much more of a person that I like to ride my bike.
Yeah.
I love to be more creative and play outside. Like I had two little friends in the neighborhood, and we would play like Charlie's Angels and go run around or play tag or whatever it might have been. I didn't get action figures or anything like that. I mean, Star Wars was the era, I grew up in. I didn't have action figures. We did not have like any video games or anything like that in our house, so I didn't play those. But yeah, I was definitely much more happy hanging outside and running around rather than like I didn't have baby dolls or anything like that. So yeah.
I mean, when I think about toy, I'm just kind of like, I mean, you can't really call like a video game system a toy, but maybe you could have back then. It's kind of just like, because I remember getting the original Nintendo system and just being so like enamored with it, just being like, I have this beautiful piece of technology, and it was in my room. So I felt it started off in the living room, but then like I think my dad became like a little too addicted to it, so my mom was like, get it out of the living room, and so it went into my room. And I felt so cool because I had a Nintendo in my room, and I felt like I was anytime I had friends over, they would immediately be like, you have a Nintendo? And I'd be like, yeah. They're like, well, we're playing it. I'm like, yeah, we are. I'd just be like, sign me up. And I just remember like just the first time seeing it in the box, just being like, wow, like I get to own one of these. Like I have one of these now. But like my favorite toy, I would say the one that I had for such a long time, I had a huge Fievel doll. Like Fievel the mouse from American Tail. And it was like, I mean, probably when they originally got it, it was probably the size of me when they originally got it. Like it was huge. Like I could lay on it. I could like be enveloped by it, like, and I kept that thing for such a long time. I loved it so much. And then so when I was into action figures for a brief period of time, I had Jurassic Park action figures. I had Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, and Tim.
Wow.
I had Joseph Mazzello. Then I had the Jeep, and then I had the Dilophosaurus, and I had a raptor. And then there was a TV show.
You didn't have a Bronte?
I don't think I did.
Okay.
And then there was a remake of an old show from I think the 60s called Land of the Lost that came out in the 90s that was like my favorite show. It was another like dinosaur type show. And I had action figures from that, and the family had a station wagon. So I would often like Worlds Collide, Land of the Lost, Jurassic Park. Like I would just kind of like combine those with the station wagon and the Jeep. And yeah, I played with that a lot. But yeah, I kind of grew out of that pretty quickly. I wasn't into action figures for that long, but I played with action figures for a long time, but just not. I knew kids that were like 11, 12 years old that were like still playing with action figures. I think I was over it by like 9 years old or something like that.
You were so mature.
No, I just really got into movies, and that's just kind of where that's just kind of where it all went.
Okay.
As soon as I started getting into movies in middle school, there was no turning back. Like I found my passion, I found the thing that I love, and I never looked back because I'm still the movie guy. All right, so we're going to go over the plot summary for the movie and the pilot, and then we are going to talk about what you can expect in July and what our theme for July is going to be. Anna, once again, came up with a great theme, so we're going to delve into the plot summary before we get into that. So let's go ahead and go do that.
Let's do it.
All right, Ted, this is the movie plot summary. In the film, we have a flashback. It's 1985, and all 8-year-old Bostonian John Bennett wants is a friend. One Christmas morning, John gets a present from his parents, a giant teddy bear which he names Ted. One night, John wishes that Ted was real so he could have a real friend. Well, that wish came true, and Ted comes alive. Over the next couple of decades, we see a montage of Ted's 15 minutes of fame as the teddy bear who came alive. But his friendship with John never changed even after his 15 minutes were done. We flash forward to present day, or 2012, and John and Ted haven't changed all too much. John has a dead-end job as an insurance salesman. Most of his days are spent smoking pot with Ted. John has been in a relationship with Lori for nearly 4 years, and the three live together in an apartment, and even though Lori likes Ted, she isn't the biggest fan of the influence he has over John. Their relationship continues to strain, but reaches its boiling point when John and Lori come home from their anniversary dinner to find Ted with prostitutes, one of which defecated on the floor, which was a really funny scene. John helps Ted find a new apartment and gets him a job working at a grocery store. Ted begins dating one of his coworkers, Tammy Lynn, which that's where the humping
Oh my God, yeah.
GIF comes from. GIF, whatever you call it. John begins to skip work in order to hang out with Ted. One night, John attends a work party with Lori at her sleazy boss's mansion, and while at the party, John gets a call from Ted, who's having a party at his apartment. John is thrilled when Ted tells him that Sam Jones, star of their favorite TV show Flash Gordon, is at the party. John sneaks out of Lori's work party to meet Sam Jones. John is sure he'll only be gone 10 minutes and Lori won't even notice. Well, 10 minutes turns into 2 hours, and when John realizes how much time has passed, he leaves Ted's apartment only for Lori to be right outside. She breaks up with John and leaves. John blames Ted and goes to stay in a motel. After Ted and John fight it out, which was the funniest part of it, was the best.
I just started laughing because that scene I cry every time we watch it.
After Ted and John fight it out, John realizes that it's not Ted's fault, but his own for not growing up and taking things more seriously. Ted convinces John to crash the Norah Jones concert that Lori and her sleazy boss are attending. John gets on stage and sings "All Time High," the theme from Octopussy, a movie they watched on their first date. Which is funny because I always find it funny when people that can sing badly, and I just always find that funny. After getting booed off the stage, John accepts that he and Lori are over and tries to move on. Meanwhile, Ted is being stalked by Donnie and his son Robert. Donnie is the same age as John and watched the Ted Story as a child. Also growing up with no friends, Donnie always envied John and wanted a Ted for himself. Donnie kidnaps Ted and brings him to his house to be his son's new best friend. John meets Lori at a pub, and John apologizes and takes accountability for his action. Lori, finally realizing that John is trying to change, forgives him and takes him back. While driving home, John gets a call from an unknown number. He answers it, and it's Ted calling from Donnie's landline, which you were like, who has a landline? I was like, it's 2012, so people still had a landline. He tells John he's in trouble, he's been kidnapped, but doesn't know where he is. The phone is then cut off by Donnie. John remembers Donnie from earlier in the movie and finds his address. Lori drives to his house where Donnie, Robert, and Ted are leaving. John follows them, and they both crash right in front of Fenway Park. Through an elaborate chase scene, Ted and Donnie start climbing up the stadium, where Donnie rips him in half. Ted slowly dies in John's arms, which was I know, I hate it, but he's fine. John and Lori rush home to try to fix Ted by sewing him back together, which was such a kind of like I kind of didn't realize it, but I was like, that's like what you would do as a kid, like when you're a teddy bear, you know what I mean? Like I kind of
you would staple it or safety pin it or something together, yeah.
They are both devastated when they realize that Ted is really gone. Lori realizes how much Ted meant to her and John, and as a last-ditch effort, she wishes on a shooting star for Ted to come back alive. The next morning, John is ecstatic to see Teddy is still alive, as is Lori. Eventually, John and Lori get married with Sam Jones as the officiant. That's the end of the movie. Once again, so much other stuff happens. It's so fucking funny. It's such a funny movie.
I will say what I love about Ted is he is like the friend that says what you wish you could say. Like he is like completely unfiltered. He does not care. He's not politically correct. He's not nice. Obviously that is all wrong. I mean, like no one should be saying the stuff Ted says, but he's saying everything you wish you could say.
Exactly. All right, so let's get into the pilot. The pilot begins in the fall of 1993. John is 16 years old, and Ted has been alive for 8 years now. Ted's 15 minutes of fame has finally ended and returns to Boston to live with the Bennetts. Ted Ted spends most of his days sitting at home watching daytime TV while John is at school, playing video games and finding random things to do around the house. One night at dinner, John, Ted, John's parents, Maddie and Susan, and John's college-age cousin Blair begin having a conversation about what is and isn't politically correct. Blair is a liberal and Maddie is more on the conservative side, leading to a lot of arguments between the two. When Ted's ignorance comes to light, Blair suggests he go to school with John to get a proper education. Ted is resistant, but Susan thinks it's a good idea. While home alone the next day, Ted acts to this is my favorite. This is like one of my favorite parts. While home alone the next day, Ted accidentally shoots a gun through the living room window, destroying the TV. An enraged Maddie comes home to find Ted on the couch with a few sex workers. Maddie orders Ted to start high school with John. Ted is nervous about going to school. John doesn't help when he tells Ted that high school is a nightmare. The next day, Ted joins John at school. And immediately on his first day of school, Ted is trying to find a way to get expelled. After a few attempts, Ted is brought into the principal's office and is told that since he is a special case, there isn't much he can do to get expelled other than violate the school's zero-tolerance policy of no drugs or no firearms. Ted is determined to find drugs. At the end of the day, John and Ted are outside school when they see Sheila, a former student, waiting to pick up her sister. John has a big crush on Sheila, but knows he doesn't have a chance with her. When Ted sees her sparking up a doobie, he uses this as an opportunity to score some weed so he can get expelled. John and Ted approach Sheila and ask her if they can buy some pot from her. Sheila's hesitant because John is only 16, but Ted insists that it's for him. She gives him the number and address of her dealer. John and Ted go to the apartment of the weed dealer, but Ted says he'll go up alone. Ted is shocked to see Blair answer the door. She explains that that this is her friend Sarah's apartment, and they grow and sell weed so they can pay for tuition. Blair begs Ted not to tell Maddie or Susan, or she'll get kicked out of the house. Ted promises to keep it a secret if she sells him some weed. Blair is worried that he and John will smoke it, and she doesn't want to be responsible for corrupting John. Ted assures her that it's not for smoking, and Ted is using it to get expelled, but Blair reluctantly agrees. When Ted and John come home, John insists on smoking some of the weed, since they technically don't need all of it for Ted to get expelled. Ted remembers his promise to Blair, but then feels bad realizing that John hasn't had much life experience and wants to try pot once. Ted agrees. Another great part. They both feel like this is a big occasion, so they decide to wear suits.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Ted in a suit is the cutest thing ever,
Oh
too.
my God, he's so cute.
Okay, so quick break. After Ted, we watched Ted the TV show, I was like, I have to find a Ted doll. I have to find one. I really wanted to find one in the suit, but I got him in his grocery store
apron,
smock or apron,
because I love stuffed animals.
Yeah,
so.
And that's also the GIF, the GIF. Yeah. Okay. So they both feel like this is a big occasion, so they decide to wear suits. They smoke out of a Coke can, and this begins John and Ted's journey with smoking weed together. The next day at school, while Ted and John are setting a plan to get Ted expelled, Clive, one of John's bullies, sees the pot and takes it from Ted. Now realizing they don't have any pot, they decide to go through Blair's room to find some. They are successful when they hear Blair and Susan coming into her room. They hide in the closet. Blair finds them hiding and pepper sprays them. Susan sees the bag of pot, and Blair admits that it's hers. Ted and the Bennett family are in the living room while Maddie scolds Blair for bringing drugs into their home. Maddie decides to kick Blair out of the house. Susan begins to interject, but when she learns that Maddie was charging Blair rent, she begins to give him the silent treatment, which drives Maddie insane. It's kind of funny because, I don't know. So, Susan gives Maddie the silent treatment, and it, drives him insane because he's a very vocal person. I don't know if that would work on me. You always hear about, the silent treatment. If I gave you the silent treatment, I don't think it would work.
If you gave me the silent treatment, that wouldn't work on me. But if I wasn't talking to you, I think you would be upset.
Really?
You get upset when I get fake mad at you.
I'm not real upset. I don't get real upset when you get fake mad at me. I get annoyed.
Well, see, but then I think if I was not talking to you, if I was actually really mad, I think you would be upset.
Okay.
I do, but what if you don't? Okay, we can try it.
No,
I'm not talking to you.
Not right now.
Okay.
Wait till after we record.
Okay.
John and Ted go to Blair's room to apologize. Blair confesses that she moved in with them because her home life is a disaster, and since Susan and John are the only people that are decent to her, she was grateful for it, and all she wanted was for John not to end up like the other Bennett men, either in jail, an alcoholic, or a bigot like Maddie. Ted, realizing he screwed up, tries to fix things by bribing Maddie by giving him Sylvester Stallone's mouthpiece from Rocky. There's a little bit of backstory where Ted was like friends with Sylvester Stallone, and they were going to film like a pilot for a TV show together, and then it ended up falling through. Knowing that the Rocky movies are Maddie's favorites and he couldn't resist wanting it, Ted says he'll give the mouthpiece to him, and in exchange, Blair can remain living at their house rent-free. Maddie agrees, and Susan breaks the silent treatment. John and Ted celebrate their good deed while smoking weed while watching their favorite show, Flash Gordon.
Yep.
So then we come full circle to Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon. Now we know why.
And the only way you could probably truly enjoy it is while high.
I guess.
I never watched it.
It was a popular movie in the 80s.
Yeah.
Flash. Master Savior of the Universe,
all right,
or whatever.
copyrights.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Just kidding. No
Beep that out.
We're fine.
Okay.
No one's coming after us. All right, so that was that. We already talked about how much we love the show. We love the movies. Go on Peacock, watch Ted the Show. I don't really think you need to watch the movies if you've never seen them. They're so funny.
Oh, that could stand alone. The
Yeah.
TV show could stand alone, but I mean, the movies are hilarious.
Yeah, so I recommend all of them. With season 2 coming out sometime this year, it's only a matter of time. So yeah, I'd say go ahead and watch it. All right, so it is the end of the month, and it is time for us to announce what our theme is going to be for July.
Yep.
Okay, so let me try to phrase this correctly. All right, so the 4th of July, obviously, is in the month of July.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Independence Day. So 4th of July, obviously, is when when the U.S. declared independence from the British. And so we decided to dedicate our month to British TV shows.
Yep.
And we have some really good ones. We have some stuff we've never seen, some stuff that you've seen that I haven't seen, and vice versa. Some of these shows are our favorites. There's one show that's brand new that just came out on Netflix. And yeah, we're both pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
It was another great idea, and it goes on
Thanks.
theme with the month.
Yeah.
You're so good at that.
I'm good at themes. I love that.
You love a theme.
I love a theme.
All right, you think that wraps this one up?
Yeah.
All
I love
right.
you, Ted.
Love you, Ted. You're the best. All right, that wraps up this episode. Thunder Buddies for life.
Thunder buddies for life, and it's raining. So
That's true. Yeah,
we've dodged the thunder because we were not. You were like, we are recording because it has been torrentially raining all day today.
When we started recording, I was waiting to have to be like pause for thunder. Because I mean, it was like thunder clap, and then as soon as we sat down and started recording, it stopped.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Thank you. All right, that wraps up this episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on whichever platform you're listening to this podcast on. That way you'll be notified every time we publish a new episode. You can also follow us on Instagram at WeJudgePilotPod. We're also on Facebook. You can leave us a comment, suggest a show for us to watch, or leave some emojis in the comments. What you got?
All right. So for both the movie and the TV show, I have the bear, a car, the stars, a teacher, the plant, the poop, the lightning bolt for Flash Gordon, music notes for the concert, the red phone emoji to represent the landline.
Good one.
Baseball for Fenway Park, where they end up in the movie. The bride and the groom, the TV, the video games, the gun, a window, the water for when he's like outside on the slip and slide. I have school and the house. All right. Well, we are going to head out, but we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.